going to be a fun episode. And oh no, what's going on with YouTube? Okay, sweet. It was flashing for some reason.
We're having technical difficulties today. It's like it's the
today,
tech day.
Yeah, it is a difficult day for the internet today.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, let's go ahead and get started. Taryn, welcome to the podcast. I am very excited for today's episode. I just mentioned before we officially started recording that like I am going to be like I am in the listener's shoes today too, where I'm just like, oh yeah, there's probably some mistakes that I'm making in my systems and operations and everything. So if you see me taking notes during this, that's what's going on. But yeah, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I am a no fluff girly, and I love to drop as much systems knowledge and just really help you guys feel really clear in your business as a whole. So like John said, like get ready to take some notes because I don't give fluff advice here. And you guys are going to get like tangible steps that you guys can take today to make your business and systems more efficient.
Yeah, and I love that. Like that's one of the reasons that I reached out to you was just like, oh, I love your She Can Systemize podcast, and I heard you or got to meet you and heard you talk at the Heart University last year, and it was just like, yeah, no fluff. You were just like this is what you need to do, and I was like, yes, this is what I need. I don't need like an hour of like this or that, or you can do this if you want to, but it's like if you want to have a good systemized workspace, this is what you need to do. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm pumped. Before we get into a little bit more about who you are and everything, as part of the show, I like to incorporate the listeners into. So I ask them for just random questions to ask guests, and I have one for you.
Love it.
Probably should have pulled it up before. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Have you ever asked someone for an autograph?
Ooh, have I ever asked someone for an autograph? I mean, we've all been to Disneyland, and I when I was a kid, I had that autograph, but I think I still have it, that notebook of like every Disney character that I wanted to meet of their autographs.
Nice.
And that was like a big deal for me. I was obsessed with Minnie Mouse when I was younger, and I brought my suitcase to Disneyland because it was like full of Minnie Mouse. It was like covered with her. And then she took pictures like using it. And I thought I met a real life celebrity. Little did I know that was just some random person in a costume. But then it was a big deal for me. So childhood time, yes. Now, like not so much. Like if I meet authors in real life, that's really cool for me. I'm in like a reading era, which is new for me. I'm usually not a big book girly, but I am definitely in my reading era right now. So, like at the Heart Conference, we got to meet Amy Porterfield in real life. I've talked to her a lot, like on social media and like the internet and stuff, but never in person. So moments like that, I love to just I don't like to, it's hard for me because it's like, I don't want to come off as like a fan, but I am really a fan of her and her business model. And just how she is just like amazing in all aspects and just shows up genuinely as her. So I like to do like, I didn't even actually get her to like write in my book or anything, but just actually talking to her for me is like a, like, autograph in itself to me. I don't know if that makes sense, but those moments
it's like
are
a
really
mental autograph. It's like that
Exactly.
means so much more than just like, oh look, on the inside cover of her 2
Yes.
weeks notice book, I got her autograph.
Exactly. Like I just went up to her and chatted with her when she was just in the conference room area, and we just had a great conversation and just about like my mom life and just like girls chatting over coffee, and I'm like, is this real life kind of thing? So yeah, like that mental autograph, like those are kind of my jam.
Yes. Same here. I've always told myself like if I met like a celebrity, like a Hollywood celebrity or something, that I wouldn't be all like fangirl and run up and be like,
Hmm.
can I have your autograph? Can you sign my face or something
Can
like
you
that?
sign my baby?
Just right here. Yeah. Sign the head of my baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just be like, hey, I know who you are. But I don't want to make a scene because I don't want people to see you in your hoodie over here at the airport or something. Um,
Exactly.
Still have never run into any celebrities in the airport. But I don't fly out to like LAX all that often.
Yeah.
Uh, but okay, well that's cool. I like that. I like the whole mental autograph thing because that like it carries along with you a lot further, and usually means a lot more than
Exactly.
just
You can have
a
more of those like
signature.
intentional conversations. And it also
Yeah,
helps like to see their human side. A lot of times
yeah,
with celebrities or, these people we look up to in the online space, we put them into like a different category instead of just like remembering there's room for like everyone at the table. And I think that's where I just like to go about things a little bit differently is to like humanize them and like find out and talk about different things that isn't just like let me get your autograph or like write like something in my book. It's like I just wanted to have like just a normal conversation, and I'll remember that forever, and it'll be different to me than just something that I may look at in a book that I've already read, kind of thing.
right. Yeah, and I love like y'all even talked about like mom stuff instead of
Hmm.
like, hey, let me pick your brain about marketing. It's
Yep.
like,
No,
yeah,
we didn't
just
talk
like,
about business at all. Like she was
yeah,
like, "Oh, didn't you move to Arizona?" And I was just like, "What?"
how
Like,
did you
yeah,
know
I did.
that?
I know. So, yeah, it was just conversations about that and just casual, and that was just so great.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Well, cool. I love that. Oh, could you give us a little background into you? You're in
Yeah.
Arizona. We know that now. But a little background into what you do and all that.
Yeah, definitely. So, my name is Taryn Rachelle. I am the founder of Taryn Rachelle. I just pivoted into a personal brand. So, anyone that's on the fence about doing that, feel free to shoot me a DM on Instagram because I have been going through it. It was a very quick pivot. I am now the community and partnerships leader at Dubsado, which is what made me transition into this personal brand.
Hmm.
Literally at the drop of a hat, I pivoted over, changed everything. My funny story, my dad is a domain, like he always loves to buy domains. He turned me into that kind of person. Like I have an idea, I buy a domain. And so like you don't even want to see my GoDaddy account, guys. Like you will be like, what is wrong with you? And my name was taken, and I was like, dang it, like I want to change my domain to my personal brand name. And I was like, wait a second. I texted my dad and I said, you wouldn't happen to own my name, would you? And he said, yes, I do, because I thought at some point you would want to transition into a personal brand, and I wanted to keep it for when you wanted to. And
That's
so, dad of the
amazing.
year right there. So, I was able to have my domain. So, if you have known me before, I was the Social Lifestyle Co. I still own that business, but I'm operating everything under Taryn Rachelle right now. I have a podcast, She Can Systemize, that John had mentioned, and we talk about systems and business and community and also just personal life systems too. I just released an episode on meal planning and things that, people don't realize are a system, but they really
Hmm.
are. And when you incorporate them into your personal life, it just gives you so much more time for other things in your business and also just to relax and sit on a couch and watch Bravo, which is something I love to do. So,
Yes. Yeah, I love that you mentioned that about like some things that you don't really necessarily think of as systems
yeah.
because like I've seen that in my personal life the last few weeks we've had some sicknesses with the kids and all of that, and we had a system of every Sunday we'd sit down and we would meal plan for the week, and we would know like on Tuesday we're going to do this quick dinner
Hmm.
because we have baseball practice
Yeah.
and like that kind of stuff, and that just kind of got overlooked for a couple weeks and we were just scrambling and everything was
Hmm.
off because our system was out of whack. And it's like it's stuff like that that you don't really think of as like this is a system. This is something that's going to keep the wheels moving smoothly. So you don't have to like every night at 5 o'clock be like, oh yeah, what are we having?
Yep.
What's thawed? Do we have to get something out of the freezer like 3 hours ago? Or, are we gonna order pizza again?
Yep.
Like that kind of thing. So I love
Yeah.
that you don't just touch on like Dubsado type systems and like CRMs and emails and all of that, but just all different aspects of life as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and I'm a fellow parent, so I have two kids, and have my husband, and we just thrive in systems in our house. And when they aren't there, like you're saying, like I
Mm.
can tell when we're missing a system. Yes, I have a systems brain, but even my husband has come to like love how systemized things are, and when things aren't organized, he can feel it too, and the kids can feel it. And so it definitely is. And we do the same thing because we are in our sports era right now. I say era a lot, and I'm not even a Swiftie, but she just like is in my brain.
She's taken over the
And
world.
she's
Everyone's using
taking
that.
over. I'm not a Swiftie, but like her as a businesswoman and stuff, like I am a fan of Taylor Swift as a person.
Yes.
But I don't sit around listening to her music all the time. So that's why I say I'm not a Swiftie, but I think she's incredible.
Yeah. I'm in
And
the same boat
I'm a
with you.
Kansas City Chiefs fan, so
Nice.
there's that too. But we have sports, so I coach softball. My husband coaches soccer, and so we have to, like today, we have our opening ceremony for softball, and I have to plan around dinner. So they have Chick-fil-A at the field, so my kids are having Chick-fil-A. We're having chicken later when we get home, and like I plan things around that because I know what's going on. And when we didn't do that, again, it was like nothing is wrong with takeout. I love pizza nights. But it
Mm,
was just like repetitive. It was over and over. And then I would just like feel not good eating out all the time. Like, your body doesn't feel great all the time.
yeah.
You just feel, not good about spending money like that 24/7. And then we were like, okay, like this is because we don't have this process in place. And then when we did, it just changed everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's crazy how just setting up one system can transform your life into like, I didn't know how much time and energy I was using just doing this on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and yeah, just something simple like meal planning, which takes us maybe 15 minutes. Because
Mm-hmm.
we have like our go-to meals now where we're just like, oh yeah, I want to do this again. I want to make this one. It's going to be cold on Thursday, so let's do something like hearty or like a
Yep.
soup or something. And it's just like we get excited, for meals that are 5 days away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like, can you talk a little bit more about like maybe some examples of systems? Because I'm just thinking like myself, like maybe 5 years ago, where if someone was like, "Yeah, the systems that you're doing," I'm like, "What systems? What are
Yep.
systems in like a entrepreneur type business?"
Yeah, so I know, like, many of you who are either tuning in live or listening to this recording are, coming in because, we're talking about mistakes you are making when it comes to systems. And the biggest mistake I see people make is not understanding what a system actually is. Your system is not your tool that you use in your business. It's not
Mm,
Dubsado. It's not ClickUp. It's not Notion. It is your process. So that is, I use this example because anyone that's service provider has inquiries, has leads. So your system is not Dubsado capturing those leads for you automatically. It is actually your process that you have implemented of what you want that client experience journey to look like from the minute they inquire through when they are, getting on a call with you or whatever your process is. That is your system. The tool that you use is your system tool where you put that process to live. And so that is like the biggest mistake I see people make is just, we're giving all of the, like, I work with Dubsado. I love them. And I love all the tools that I use in my business, but I don't give them all the power. That power lies within me and my process. And that's what I always tell my clients and my community is like, don't give all your power away to these tools. Yes, they are amazing, but what's actually amazing is when you create a killer system and process, then you implement that into these tools. And then, yes, your systems are killer. Your process, your client experience is amazing, because you have taken time to develop that and have the right mindset around what actually a system is. So that is something where, like, before we even talk about, like, all these amazing systems, is I'm not going to sit here and talk about, Dubsado and Notion and all these things. Yeah, I may touch on
Right.
them a little bit, but we're talking about your actual process.
Yeah. I think that's a really great distinction between like the tools that you use in your system and your actual system.
Hmm.
Because that is something that I remember the year that I got a CRM, which was way too late in my career. Should have done it like from the beginning. Once someone was like, you should get a CRM. Um, but I waited like 7 years. It was crazy. Not great. But I remember like that year and how that changed, and like a lot of stuff changed because it kind of came with some some more organization. And like the systems that I had before were like written paper contracts and like mailing them to people and them signing and mailing back, which was an insane way of doing that in like 2017. um, but like that whole thing, like I thought of like the tool itself was, oh, this is my system now. I can use this as it's going to do the stuff for me. I don't have to think about it. So I love that you have that distinction between the tools and then the actual systems themselves.
Yeah, a lot of people, they pay for a tool or they sign up for a free trial or do anything, and then they're like, "Cool,
Uh,
I'm done. Like, I did
yep.
it." Like, gold star, pat on the back. Yes, gold star for looking into a CRM, but that
Hmm.
CRM is not going to set itself up. It doesn't know your clients like you do. It does not know your business, your brand, what you want that experience to look like until you do the work and you get your hands dirty and you create a process, even if you hire out. So before this year, I offered system builds, and I worked in Dubsado, ClickUp, Trello, Slack, tons of Zapier automations. And I would have to pull that process out of my clients. That was part of their pre-work, was to write out their ideal client journey from me, from the time someone inquires all the way through when they are sending a raving testimonial. And for some people, they may hear that and be like, wasn't that your job to do that? No, I don't know
Yeah.
your business like you do. My job is to take that ideal client journey and elevate it and put it into a CRM and make it automated. Our goal as a company was always 80% of your system was automated. And we never had clients fall below that. But in order for that to happen, we need to pull that process out of you. And when clients did that, they had so many light bulb and aha moments of, wow, like I have a lot of gaps in my journey right now. This is my ideal client journey. So this is what I want to happen. But is this actually happening right now? No. Am I sitting here at 1 a.m. getting a ding notification that someone inquired and I'm going and sending an email back to them because if I don't right now, they'll go to someone else? Yeah, a lot of people do that still. Maybe some of you listening right now, but there are
Hmm.
ways to automate that experience and still have it be personalized. And that's where someone that handles your systems can make that happen. But you have to be the one to figure out what you want that system to look like, because at the end of the day, it's your business. It's not my business. It's your business. And that's where a lot of people, I think, go wrong when it comes to outsourcing systems help, is thinking that, well, they're just going to do this for me and I'm never going to have
Right.
to touch it again.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's great that like that standard of 80% or more being automated, because I get a lot of pushback from coaching students of just like, well, I don't want it to sound like a canned email, or I don't want this automation to not feel genuine because I want to be, hashtag authentic and like show up as myself and all of that. And like I love that you just mentioned like you can still have your voice in these automations. Uh,
Yeah.
and I don't remember who it was that said it, but it just made sense to me of just like when you are your like most personable self, when you're ready to like write all these email templates and everything, that's like your best version of you. And then sometimes you might have an off day or just like a rough morning where you no amount of coffee is helping you wake up, and instead of having to write an email where you're not in the right headspace, you're just like you already have this template that's already automated from the person that was like on it months ago whenever you put this together, instead of you just being like, I don't know, here's my prices, if you want to book with me, and just
Here
like
you
moving
go.
on. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like think about it, like for any of you who have that mindset block right now, and it is a block that we need to get rid of. How many of you have received emails that you know are automated? Like, I'm sorry if you're inquiring on my services at 2 a.m. I'm not up there
Yeah.
writing an email back. Those are automated. But how many of you guys are sitting there getting emails, sales emails? Once you get into someone's email marketing campaign, those are definitely automated. They are not sending those out, sitting there and typing them out and sending them. Some people might, but again, majority of people do not. Are you sitting there and like, this is not authentic? Hashtag authentic is not here. Like, are you sitting there thinking that? Probably not. You're just wanting to get the information that you inquired on. You're just
Hmm.
wanting to like figure out, if this offer is right for me. Like, you are just wanting that information. That's what you care about. Like, that's what you're wanting as a person receiving these things. So it's just making sure that we have, that mindset of we are receiving these and we don't feel that way. When
Hmm.
we feel that way is when that person does not take the time to personalize it, and that's on them, and that's not what you have to do. I am a GIF or GIF, however you like to say it, fanatic, and
Oh
every single
yeah.
one of my emails are going to have those. It's going to have my brand voice. I let people know my like automated emails, like of my personal life, that I'm a mom and these are my office hours, and I may not get back to you right now because I'm covered in dirt on the softball field. Like, there is so many things that I personalize to make it sound like I'm sitting there writing that email right now, but I'm not. And so when you're receiving ones and you're feeling like it's not personalized, it feels like Chat GPT wrote it. That is because a person didn't take the time to personalize it and make it sound like their brand voice. So as
Yeah.
long as you do that, you're not going to have anyone that's going to be like, like there's a robot sending this. They're going to feel like it's still you.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's such a great mindset to have, because like, we talked about Amy Porterfield earlier. I get so many emails from her because I've probably joined in so many different funnels that she has from like free stuff and webinars and stuff that I've taken from her. And I have never opened an email from Amy being like, oh, well, she probably didn't send this right now. That wasn't her. I'm like, obviously it's not her. Like, we don't think about, she's running an 8-figure business. Of course, she's not sitting there at 2 in the afternoon sending out every individual email. I'm like, it makes sense that she wouldn't. And we have to get in that mindset of like, it would make more sense that you shouldn't be doing that too. And that, as long as, like you said, it's in your voice and you are giving them the information that they want, then they'll be happy.
Exactly. Yeah. As long as you're just giving the people what they want and listening to your community and
Uh-huh.
putting out things that they are needing and wanting, and it makes sense for your business, it makes sense for your brand voice. That's all that people want. And that is going to show you as your authentic self. Just like you said earlier, there are times when you're just not in that right mindset to be doing things. You need to take a personal day. You need to not be responding to emails, but we still want those emails to go out. We still want our business to run. I take all of June off of my business because I have 3 birthdays in my family. Mine, most important, just kidding.
Right. Yeah.
My daughter, who's 2 days after me, tried to steal my thunder, and then my husband as well. So we all have birthdays in June. So that is a busy month. And I used to just try and keep working, keep trucking through it. And I could not show up for my community. I could not show up for my clients, but I was trying to.
Mhm.
And so I take all of June off now. my business still runs, things still happen, but it's all automated. Same thing in December. I like to spend the holidays with my family and be present. My kids are out of school. I don't want to be trying to get on calls while they're excited to make Christmas cookies. Like, I
Right.
want to be doing those things and enjoying those moments with them while they are here in my house. And so I take that month off as well. But again, my business is still running. It's still thriving. People are still getting responses from me. And I also let my community know about these things. I let them know that I'm going to be out of office. And so they are prepared. I batch create content. Right now, I'm batching every single one of my podcast episodes that are going to be airing during the summertime when my kids are home, because I do not want to be recording when they are again wanting to play outside, wanting to go to the
Hmm.
pool. I want to be at the pool, not recording
Right.
a podcast episode. So I batch those things and then schedule them out to go out. So again, it's just making sure that you're prepared and thinking about your life and business as a whole and not separating the two.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it's so great when you use systems in your business and automations to where you can take that break and your business doesn't shut down. Because it's not like a brick and mortar where you're like, flipping the open sign and like you have to be there to unlock the door so that people can come in. It's like you have those automations which are kind of like employees who can do these things for you, and then you can go chill in the pool in the summer. It is already getting hot here in Texas, and I'm like, I am waiting for this pool to open up so that we get my 5-year old. She asks almost daily of just like, when is the pool open? I'm like, it doesn't open until Memorial Day weekend. I know that is a long time away and it gets hot here before then, but we've got some time. And yeah, like I'm excited about my business continuing on because of the systems and automations that I have, while I am enjoying life and just checking in here and there. So what's another mistake that we might be making in our systems?
I would definitely say another mistake that a lot of people make is that they think that they don't need these systems, or especially SOPs, which are standard operating procedures, until they have a team.
Mm,
So at the time of recording this, I do not have a team at all. I outsource certain things, but I do not have an assistant, anything like that. I have a girl that just of like this year is editing my podcast for me and scheduling it out. Before that, I was doing it all myself. But I always say, like you said, they can be your employees. I have thousands of employees of automations that help
yeah.
run my business. But I am a solopreneur. I never plan on having a ginormous team. For me, my magic number is 3. I have set that, and that's like my intention of my team. That's as big of a team as I want to have. But if you are planning of having a team at any point, or even if you are planning on just staying a solopreneur, have systems and especially SOPs in your business from the beginning. And from the beginning, if you're listening to this, you're like, well, Taryn, I'm now 5 years in. I can't go back in time. Start today,
Yeah.
and document your first SOP. So for anyone that's like, what's an SOP? It is literally your process from the beginning to the end. So we pretty much all use Instagram. So I usually like to use this as an example. Posting on Instagram. I know there's a bunch of different ways you can post. Let's just do a carousel because those are my favorite types of content.
Hmm.
So if you are creating a carousel post, what is going to be the process from the very beginning, which is usually the idea, all the way to when it's living on your feed, is the end result. What are all those steps in between? So creating the graphic, putting the copy in, putting hashtags in, like everything that happens to make that carousel go live on your feed, that is going to be your SOP. The reason why these are important is you may not think that you're ever going to have a team, but I bet at some point you will have someone that maybe handles some tasks in your business, whether it's a VA, a social media manager, anything. And even if you don't, it's important to have these So then you can make sure that you aren't missing any steps in your process. You're not going through after the Instagram post is live and being like, oh my gosh, I forgot my hashtags. And now it's too late for me to add the hashtags for them to even work for the post and show up for it and have my
Mhm.
post show up under those hashtags. If you followed your SOP, you would know that that's a step in your process before it lives on your feed. So when we document these things, it helps us stay efficient. But then if you get to that point of wanting to hire out, you can give these to them to follow instead of having to record Loom videos every single time someone has a question. My rule of thumb is anytime I get a question from someone more than twice, it becomes an SOP. So kind of create like whatever your rule of thumb is if you have team members to be like, this is going to be when I need to create an SOP for this, is when I'm getting this question too repetitively, which means that they're having these questions because there is not a guide to follow. And so that is like a huge mistake I see a lot of people make. I will go in and I will be like, okay, where are your SOPs? Where do they live? If I was setting up their project management tool and they're like, what SOP is or what does that mean? And then it's not a big deal. I'm not like, oh, shame on you.
Right.
Because a lot of people don't have those. A lot of people don't think they're necessary. They think, okay, when I'm a big corporation, that's when I need to have SOPs.
Mhm.
No, from the beginning of your business, like the very beginning, I started documenting everything. My new role in Dubsado, from the day I started, I document every single thing I'm doing because I do not plan to always be the one doing these things. There could be someone that could do these smaller tasks for me. So I need to have them documented so they're still done in the way that I would do them. So it's just making sure that you are documenting things so you can stay on track. But then again, if you want to outsource, they're going to be set up for success and you're not going to feel like you're not getting a return on your investment.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know how many times I have referenced my SOPs because I'm just like scatterbrained that day, or I'm just like, maybe I haven't done it in a while and I'm just like, oh yeah, how do I do this? And like going back through that whole system of like, you do this and then you do this next, has really helped me on the days where I am not feeling like 100%, or it's been a little bit. Like I remember one time I came back from an engagement session and I just uh, I just threw my camera bag down and went like switched over to family mode, and just I was like, you know what, I want to go watch the show or whatever it was. I just went into that and didn't go through my whole process of take out the memory cards, back them up in two different places on my computer and hard drive, file those cards in little film canisters so I know like this stays here until these photos are delivered, and like going through all of my steps. And then I had a photo shoot the next day, just grabbed my bag and went, and I formatted that card because I that was the beginning of my system is, yeah, format the cards that are in there because they've already been backed up, but I didn't go through my whole process. And yeah, if I had had that sort of like SOP of, once you get home, go do this, instead of just trying to remember, uh, that would have saved me, and it would have saved those photos, and would have made the couple a lot happier and less stressed than having to reschedule another engagement shoot and all of that. So yeah, that is so helpful to have those. Because yeah, I mean, you mentioned this, like that kind of pushback of like, well, I'm not going to hire a team, it's just me, I'm a solopreneur, what do I need it for? Like, you do, because there are some days where you might need that, or some days where uh, you might eventually bring on someone, like you said, that's even just like, all I need you to do is just like the lead nurturing process of just like those touch points. You work with the new people coming in, and then you can schedule meetings with me, and like that whole thing. Once, usually whenever you're bringing someone in to work with you, even like a VA or something like that, a virtual assistant, you're overwhelmed and you're needing help. So once you're overwhelmed and you don't have that time to actually write out your SOPs, then they're coming in and you're having to spend extra time on like training them and figuring out all of that. So yeah, huge thing to take away, listeners. So yes, work on those SOPs in your business.
Yeah, and like two things that you touched on, like you coming home that day and you just feeling like, you need to like decompress or be with the kids and all that kind of stuff. Like these SOPs allow you to do things more quickly. So then
Hmm.
you're still able to do those things. And it doesn't feel like a daunting task because a really great thing to do when you are creating your SOPs is to timestamp yourself of how long these actually take you. Because when we're in those moments of we're tired, we just want to relax and not do it. We may think, oh my gosh, it's going to take hours. I just don't have the mental capacity for this. But when you actually like take the time to document these and you put in how long these tasks actually take you may be like, wow, this actually doesn't take me that long. Or why is this taking me so long? And are
Yeah.
there steps of this that I can automate or eliminate that aren't necessary? And so it's easier to go in and be like, okay, John, like talking to yourself, this only takes 15 minutes. I do this, it's done. And then I have the rest of the day to do whatever I need to do or want to
Hmm.
do, as opposed to just coming in and being tired and just like, this is just something I have to do. I don't want to do it right now. It just allows you to like free up that mental capacity and like worrying that this is going to take you so long when it may not. And then giving things to someone of like an assistant or something like that, and you are, you know, bringing them into chaos because, like you said, normally that's the state you're in when you're wanting to bring in some help is you're a little overwhelmed.
Yeah.
I see this many times with either my clients or friends in the online space where they're like, gosh, like I hired the wrong person. They don't know what to do. What a waste of my money. That person could have been the ideal person for your business, but you set them up to fail. You
Yeah.
set them up to not succeed. And then in return, you feel like you wasted your money. They feel like, oh, like I'm doing a bad job. And then that's just not setting your business up for success. That's not setting them up for success, who's probably also running their own business, unless you're bringing them in as a full time employee with you. They have other clients, they have other things to do, and they're not going to feel great. So it's going to go both ways. And when we don't set them up for success, then both parties are going to fail. And I hate so much seeing that, of putting all of the blame on the person you're hiring, where yes, there are
Hmm.
cases where you may have hired the wrong person. But that again could go into, do you have a streamlined process of your hiring to hire the right person? So when you set them up to succeed by giving them these SOPs and also asking them to document their process as they are working with you, you're going to feel so much better and you're not going to feel like you hired the wrong person. Again, I'm a solopreneur right now, but every single SOP I have has a space in there to put what team member, because I have my dream team outline of those 3 people who would be responsible for this SOP. So
Hmm.
I don't have that person right now. I don't have an assistant. I don't have a social media manager. I don't have these people. But I put in my SOP as if that person exists, who would be responsible for this. So then when I do hire, they have every SOP that falls under their business. And also going into your process for hiring, that's actually how I build out my job descriptions. So I look at all the SOPs that fall underneath that role, and that helps me be very intentional on who I hire, because I have had assistants at certain seasons of my business that I've needed, but right now I don't have one. But when they came in, they have those documented SOPs of exactly
Hmm.
what they need to do. And it helped me build that job description to bring in the right person.
Yeah. Oh, that is so helpful because, like, yeah, you don't want to have all these different SOPs. And then once you're hiring someone, you're like, okay, which ones do I give to you? Which ones do I keep? And
And
like
that's where like
having that,
scope creep
yeah.
comes in too, of like being like, oh, handle
Mm-hmm.
all of this when it's not their job to handle that.
Yeah.
They're
Oh
coming
yeah.
in as a assistant for something else and you're having them, do your meal planning. That has nothing to
Right.
do with their job description. That's
Yeah.
your SOP unless they're coming in to help you do that.
Yeah.
So it just really helps with scope creep of them not feeling like, okay, this is outside of what I'm getting paid to do. And then they're feeling like it's not a good return on investment of their time because they're not making enough money for what you're having them do.
hmm Oh yeah, think about like the corporate jobs that you may have had where it's just like this wasn't my job title. Like this was not in my job description and you're asking me to do these extra things but I'm not getting any extra pay. Like you don't want to do that to someone that you're bringing in.
Yeah.
And when you were talking about like hiring well and having those SOPs uh, for like an assistant or a social media manager or whomever's joining your team, and then just being like, oh no, I hired the wrong person because they didn't do it right or efficiently. If they don't have those, if you don't have those SOPs to give them, I don't know if it's just dad brain or whatever, but like I pictured like hiring someone to go grocery shopping for you, but it's at a grocery store that's they're not familiar with. They're like, I know what to do. I know like I have the list of things that I need to pick up, but like in my grocery store that I go to often, like dairy is over here and then produce is over here. And this one, like you're walking into a new store and you're like, okay, I know everything is here that I need to get, but I don't exactly know where it is. So I'm going to have to figure it out a little bit. It's going to take a little bit longer. And maybe I'm going to miss something because I didn't know that this was at an end cap over by the cereal. And like that kind of stuff. Instead, like with that SOP, you're giving them a map of the store and just being like, yeah, if you start over on the right hand side, you're going to be in the produce. Go ahead and get these. And then, you know, weave through over here, and then that'll be a lot more efficient for them and they will be a better employee, being able to work faster and to do more, and they're going to feel better about working for you because they're going to be like, oh yeah, I was very productive today, I did all of these things and I feel
Yep.
good about it. So
Yeah. I
I don't
love
know,
that
that just like popped in my
analogy.
mind.
No, it's funny. I love that analogy. And then right when you were saying that, I
Mm,
love Christmas with the Cranks. Like that is our go-to like holiday movie to watch. And
uh-huh.
my husband like says I'm like her all the time. Like when he gets back in the car and he's like, they didn't have the white chocolate. She's like, well, did you ask the butcher? And he's like, no, I didn't think to ask the butcher where the chocolate is. But it's like that's her process. Like that's
Yep.
her system of grocery shopping because she's usually the one that does it. But it was raining, so she sent someone else and delegated it to go and do it,
Hmm.
but then didn't tell them where to look for it.
Yeah.
So that is funny that that analogy popped in your head and then triggered me to be laughing internally of like my favorite
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah, and like it just goes to show like how many systems you have in your day-to-day life that you just don't really know.
Hmm.
Or don't recognize that you have. This has been great, Taryn. I've loved all of this. Like I am definitely going to be listening back to this episode and like implementing stuff in my business. Are there any last words you want to share with the listeners before we kind of wrap this up?
Yeah, I would just say to, really take some time to write out things that are just causing a lot of like troubles in your business. Like where are you feeling the most strain that's
Mm,
happening? Are you looking at your CRM and there are 60 leads in there, and that's amazing, but it's overwhelming. I've had clients that come to me, especially I used to work with the wedding and event industry, so they were getting a ton of inquiries all the time, and that instead of feeling amazing about that, it was daunting. They were just overwhelmed. And
yeah.
they would tell me, I just don't like going to my CRM because I have all these leads to respond to. And I'm not at a point to hire out help of having like an assistant do this. Because if you're using a CRM, especially like Dubsado or one that can automate, you don't need an assistant to do those things. And I'm not saying that, VAs or tech VAs aren't important, but let's again set them up for success and make sure that they're doing tasks that shouldn't or can't be automated. So then they are doing things that are actually income producing activities where all of that can be automated and you're already paying for the tool. So why not use it? So look at, what's going on in your business and also your personal life of where you're feeling overwhelmed. So we've talked about meal planning a lot, but this has been a very hot topic in my community is like people have loved me chatting about my meal planning process because that was a very daunting time for me. 5 o'clock, I have two little kids who have already been asking me for snacks all day. And all day, I mean, the 2 hours they've been home from school, that's felt like all day.
Immediately walking through the door.
Immediately walking. I'm like, yeah, like, did you not eat all day? Like, are they not feeding you? And so I'm like, that time would hit and I was just like overwhelmed, like frustrated. Me and my husband would fight. I'm upset with the kids. Like I'm the cook of the family. I love to cook, but then I was hating it because I was the one to do it. I'm like, to my husband, like, why can't you just learn how to cook? Like, figure this out when I don't want him to cook. Like, I just enjoy it. But I wasn't enjoying it anymore. So look at those things that you normally would enjoy, but maybe aren't right now and figure out why that is. And for me, it was because I didn't have a process for it. I wasn't meal planning. I wasn't looking at our daily schedule of we're at the softball field this week 4 times in the week. Like that is a lot. And am I planning accordingly? Or am I planning these like extravagant dinners on a day where we're gone at 4:30 and don't get home till 7 o'clock at night? Like that was where I was getting overwhelmed. So it's to take an audit of your business and your personal life and see where are areas that are causing me stress and overwhelm, and do I have a system for it? And if the answer is no, look at what is the one that is giving you the most stress or strain and start there. A lot of people look at this huge laundry list of a million items that they don't have systems for. And then they're like, well, now I have a lot to do and now I'm even more overwhelmed. Let's just pick the biggest one because you're going to feel the biggest return on investment of your time getting that organized, setting up that inquiry process, setting up that meal planning process. So then you have more of a mental capacity to relax and also handle the rest that's on your to-do list. So just make that list and start figuring it out, and then outsource where you can and find some systems experts that can help you along the way so you feel good, and especially if it's not your zone of genius to tackle.
Yeah. Oh, I love all of that, especially like, like just taking those baby steps. Like it can be really daunting just looking at everything and being like, oh man, I need help here and I need to do this. It's like, what's one that you can work on today? Get that lined up and then go tackle the next one instead of that whole like analysis paralysis. It happens to me all the time of just like, I am overwhelmed, I'm going to do nothing, and then
I'm
nothing
going to
changes.
curl up in the fetal position and just cry.
Just hope that everything irons itself out whenever I wake up. It's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just take those steps to do that one thing, even if it's meal planning. Like if you're listening and you're just like, yeah, I have no idea. I'm always just like, oh yeah, we were supposed to take the chicken out of the freezer yesterday, so it would be ready for dinner tonight. I guess, I don't know, sandwiches. And
figure it out yourself.
Yeah. Everyone, we're having chips for dinner.
Yep.
But
my kids would love that. They would thrive.
Oh yeah. If we could just have goldfish and Doritos every day, that would be amazing.
So those are staples in my house.
My kids would be so happy.
Yeah.
But no, Taryn, I love that. That is so great. Before we get into like where people can find you and listen to your podcast and all of that, there's part of the show that I like to do where we talk about what we're loving this week, and it can be like a new book. You said you're in your book era right now. I'm interested in what you're reading, but because I'm also in a little bit of a book era too. And but yeah, it could be literally anything. What are you loving this week?
Yeah, so I will just share some of my books since I mentioned that. So right now, I'm in the process of doing 75 medium. So if you've heard 75 hard, I'm doing a
Yes.
medium version
Love it.
because I am all about just like being real with yourself and true with yourself. So I had two major surgeries over the holiday in the fall time of 2023. And so I haven't worked out since like last spring, so about a year
Yeah.
ago. So for me to go from not working out to two workouts a day, like probably not realistic, and I'm not going to stick with it. So
Mhm.
I've, adjusted it. That's why I'm saying it's a medium, like where I'm like walking every day and things like that, throwing in some workouts, but I am reading a chapter every single day. I am committing to that. I have been really loving reading this year. And so right now I'm reading How Are You Really by Jenna Kutcher. I've had this book for a really long time and I've really been wanting
So
to read
good.
it. Oh my gosh, I swear I'm like every time I read it, I'm like, is Jenna like behind my shoulder? Because like
Yeah.
everything is so relatable to me. And I'm just like, what is like, I just need to hear what she's saying, or like it's tying into something I'm hearing from my community. So if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably been seeing I've been like pulling clips of a book that I've been like putting on my stories every day. Every day, that's the book that I'm reading right now that I'm pulling those from. But a book that really impacted me, and I read it in one day. So the chapter a day turned into the whole book in one day because I couldn't put it
Book a
down.
day.
Yeah, book a day was Who Not How by Dan
Hmm.
Sullivan. Or it's actually technically like written by someone else, but it's his process,
Okay.
which is ties into the book, which is about how you don't always have to be the one to do something to make an impact, and how it's like a little bit about outsourcing, but also just like so many different things. Is just that concept of like, you know, if you want to get something done, it doesn't always need to be how am I going to do this.
Mm.
Something it could be like who can do this, or those kinds of things. So it just like it's an incredible book. Again, I couldn't put it down. I read it in an entire day.
That sounds really
And
good. I need to get
yeah,
that one.
it's
Okay,
it's
say
a
the
good
title
one.
again. Who,
Who
not
Not
how?
How.
Okay.
Yes. And I think it is like it says Dan Sullivan, but when you read it, you'll hear at the beginning it's like written by someone else and stuff like that. But
Okay.
I also got his other book. It's like 10x or just better than 2x, something like that. The 2x better than 10x or something. But I got that one to read next. So that's on my docket after
Okay.
Jenna Kutcher's is done.
Nice. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really loved Jenna's book.
Mm-hmm.
I've been a follower of hers since like she started her podcast in
Yep.
like 2016 or 17.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just I felt the same way reading through that book. I was just like, yeah, this is exactly right. This is exactly
Yep.
what like I need and how I'm feeling. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's a really great.
Especially like as a business owner to like ask
Hmm.
yourself like how are you really, like, we can
Yeah.
put on this facade, especially on social media, of like
Yeah.
everything's perfect and sunshines and rainbows. And I am one to definitely like, I like to share my scars, like versus like my open wounds or whatever they say, of like sharing the
Right.
experience of what happened instead of just like, I like to show up authentically on social media. But I like it too, if there's something going on, I want to be able to share what it is and how I'm overcoming it and things like that,
Hmm.
to help relate to people and help people feel like they're not alone in those situations. But that book really like helps you figure out that you might not be okay right now in some
Yeah.
aspect that you're just neglecting or not actually thinking about. And there are so many things, I have so much on my plate right now, and I have to check myself and be like, how am I doing right now? Like, am I being a little short with my family? Like, are there things that I'm a little overwhelmed with work that don't need to be on my plate? That's why I
Hmm.
outsourced podcast editing, because I was at a point in my business where I could do that and I needed to do it because there was no way I could make the impact that I want to make with my podcast this year with me still editing and putting that stuff out there.
Yeah.
So I have to really check myself and be like, how am I actually doing? And if the answer is I'm not okay right now, then I need to figure out how to make myself okay. And even if that means just taking a break, and just relaxing for that day. I've really tried to implement that in my work schedule of having times to just decompress and watch some Bravo and not have to worry about work.
Yeah. Yeah, and not feel guilty about it too. Because
Yep.
that was a big thing for me was like I wanted that time to just like sit and watch a show,
Yeah.
but I would feel guilty of like, oh, but I should be doing this. Or,
Yeah, like,
you
oh
know,
my
but
gosh, what
there's
could like my year look like if I didn't take that one day of sitting down?
right.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yep.
Or like, if there's dishes in the sink. I'm like, I should probably do that before I sit down. And
Hmm.
it's like, they're gonna be there. It's fine.
Yep,
Like you watch your show and then go do the dishes. And you
exactly.
know what? They're okay. They don't
Yep. The dishes
disintegrate.
will be fine.
Yeah.
They won't walk off
No.
as much as we wish they would.
Yes, yes, please. Awesome. Okay, cool. I love that. Let's see. This week I am loving uh I'm loving the Daily Show. The like comedy news satire whatever with it used to have Trevor Noah as the host, and then he's stepped down, retired, and Jon Stewart is back like only on Mondays, but it's really fun because I remember in high school watching The Daily Show with Jon Stewart and just like that kind of nostalgia feeling, having him back behind the desk and doing his whole thing. I'm just like, I'm really liking this. It's great, and it's only been like 2 or 3 weeks right now, but I like that. It's fun.
Love that. Yeah, that like
Yeah.
nostalgic. I'm feeling that way with my kids because they're at that like cartoon age. So
Oh
I'm trying to
yeah.
get them to watch like old movies or cartoons that I used to watch. And I'm
Hmm.
loving this probably more than you guys right now. I keep trying to get them on like Recess and like all of those shows that I
Oh
used to
yeah.
watch because I'm like, these are so good. Like you guys just, I know they're not as like beautiful like graphics as your new
Uh
shows are, but they're funny.
huh. Yeah, they don't have like superpowers like the
Yep.
Paw Patrol Mighty Pups and stuff. I'm
I
like,
oh my gosh, I can't with the Paw Patrol right now in my house.
it's all over the place. Our
Yeah.
our 3-year old, we're doing like a half birthday for her because things were crazy in October. So in
Hmm.
April we're throwing a half birthday for her and then a sixth birthday for our middle daughter. And they were like, we want a Paw Patrol Princess Mermaid birthday. And I was like, okay,
We're gonna
we'll
make this
figure out something.
happen.
Yeah. But yeah,
I
they're
love that.
obsessed with Paw Patrol. But
Yep.
yeah. Okay, Taryn, where can people find you? Where can they follow along? Social media, listen to your podcast, all those things.
Yeah, definitely. So on social media, I am the Taryn Rachelle. Taryn Rachelle was taken, so I'm the Taryn Rachelle. And then my podcast is She Can Systemize. We are always looking for guests, so I'll make sure that you guys have the link to submit if you would like to be a guest on the show. And you can connect with us at Dubsado as well. This is our first year, so we're recording this in 2024 of being at in real life events. And we are so excited. We have not announced some incredible events that we are going to be at yet, but be on the lookout. And we're
Awesome.
always looking at more events to be at. So if you have some conferences that you need speakers at, sponsors, definitely reach out to us. We would love to be there, and you'll get to hang out with me in real life. So I love those moments.
Sweet. Awesome. That's very cool. Well, yeah, I'm going to be looking forward to those announcements and everything.
Yeah,
And
a
yeah.
lot of them are in Texas, so you're gonna be
Oh,
happy about that.
good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, very cool. Yeah, I'll have links to all that in the show notes. And but yeah, Taryn, thanks so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed getting to chat with you.
Yeah, it's good to see you again, and hopefully I'll
Yeah.
see you in Texas soon.
Yes. Yes. Hopefully so. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching live. And if you're watching the replay, thanks for watching the replay too. And we'll see y'all for the next episode. Bye, y'all.
Thank you.